Hey everybody, welcome on in. It is Thursday night. It's 10 p.m. or 10 something p.m. Here on the East Coast, and that means it's time to stream. The great clock in our home has struck, and I must stream. That is just what happens. That's what you do. Anyway, going with a different angle tonight. Clearly, well, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good Thursday night so far. I hope you're having a good end to your week. For those of you who get off tomorrow to celebrate Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth to everybody. Happy Pride to everyone too. I feel like June just started, but no, it did not. So for all those who celebrate and all allies, I hope you're having a wonderful Pride Month. Yeah. So in case you're new to the channel, my name's Jeff. You can call me Wags. And I do art here. So what you'll see largely is me either working on comics for kids, which I make with my wife, Ashley. I'm the G and she's the A in Wagworks GA. So a lot of times we'll work on stuff. CoreToons is a group that we work with. A group, but also a digital magazine we work on, and we do short educational comics for kids. Like they're lighthearted, simple comics with a little bit of educational stuff. We make like we're working on our 6th issue of our out of 6 of our digital magazine, and actually you can see that right now for free, no signups, no anything, by just going to the URL that I did not prepare in advance, that I'm going to put in chat, imminently. One of these days I'll have things prepared. I really will, but you can find that here. So CoreToons, we have a blast making this with our friends Ken Ralston and Sarah Giles, and we actually get to feature a lot of our other friends from the kids comics community, and it's a blast. So that link right there, www.lovereading.co/CoreToons/CoreToons-Tribune-activities, is actually our summer issue. So that one, instead of being full of comics, is full of activities and things that kids can do over the summer to help keep the full brain rot from setting in over the summer. It's good. You should check it out. It's great. But usually what we do for CoreToons is comics. Actually, if you just go to the lovereading.co/CoreToons, you can actually binge a bunch of the weather-related comics that Ashley and I have done for that. We also have done work on more of like the middle grades, so ages like 9 through 12 stuff. So that's this beautiful anthology sitting behind me, which of course you can't really see it, but the Let's Go Comics anthology for kids, available on Amazon. We made that with the Kids Comics Unite community, and we contributed one of the 30 comics that are in there, and it was a fun effort to make. So we've also worked on that here, but another thing that you will see here on stream is video game fan art, and that's what we'll be doing tonight. I've been a big fan of games done quick for a long time. I think that is no secret to anyone who's watched the channel for any length of time. I will say what I always say, which is that I probably wouldn't really be on Twitch without having first stumbled on it through them over a decade ago. And they're an amazing community, an amazing group of speedrunners who put on the epic week-long 24-hour-a-day marathons twice a year, as well as some smaller marathons throughout the year that raise money for amazing causes. So Summer Games Done Quick, which kicks off July 5th, will be raising money for Doctors Without Borders, and you should go to their website, gamesdonequick.com. You can actually see the list of games that they're running, the schedule and all of that. You can also check out their channel here on Twitch, which is just twitch.tv/gamesdonequick. Big shout out to them. Please check them out. So I donate art to the marathons because during the marathons, one of the ways that they encourage donations is they offer fabulous prizes made by artisans such as myself, and people who are even, incredibly talented, amazing artists. They even have prizes like amazing prop weapons and stuff. Like, it's nuts. You have to look at the prize page and see. It's crazy. But for the last several years, I've had the joy of contributing. So I've worked on stuff. You submit it. and if they give you the thumbs up, then you send them the thing, and it's featured sometimes on the marathon, but always on the webpage that people can, during certain blocks of games, they can donate and they can win that prize. We've done some cool stuff. I won't do full show and tell mode here. We did like a Sonic blanket that I really liked. We did Pokemon coffee mugs. That was super fun. That was last Awesome Games Done Quick. That was back in January. So it was like the Johto starters and all their evolutions. Each one had their own mug. Anyway, it was the whole thing. It was cool. I loved it. I've done some very large canvas prints, a beach towel. I've designed stuff that then we got printed on that for the thing. So that is continuing. And we have been long laboring on this Kingdom Hearts Clock Tower, Kingdom Hearts 2 Twilight Town Clock Tower illustration, which we finished last week, and it does in fact remain done. I'll get to more on that, on why I'm still doing something related to this Games Done Quick donation, even though it's not the piece. We'll circle back to that later. But that is one of the many formats of video game art that I like to do here. Actually, the Games Done Quick is a big driver for that, but that's what you'll see here. That's a very long-winded intro, but hi, I do talk sometimes, a lot. Outside of that, art is not my full-time job. I do have a day job as a meteorologist programmer, and I have 2 kids, so it's a very full life, and that is why I only stream at 10 p.m. on Thursday nights, because that is when I can find the time to do so. But I'm glad you found my little slice of Twitch over here, and I hope you have a good time. Okay, so any other or actual announcements? Yeah, we're going to be resuming very shortly the Dungeons and Dragons group illustration piece. I'm hoping to finish that. Did I say illustration piece? I did. Anyway, going to be trying to finish that up pretty soon so that I have it ready by the time our campaign resumes. And after that, I'm not sure what we'll be jumping onto next, actually. We will be making a new comic at some point for the August CoreToons. I've been wanting to do some slice of life stuff. I want to do some Disney fan art. Lots of things on the docket. So we'll see where we go as the year continues. But tonight I've got a very specific thing that we're going to be trying to finish up. Before we do that, last announcement is July 2nd. That is, oh goodness, that is 2 weeks from now. I've done not as much as I would have liked to. July 2nd is the day before my official 3-year stream anniversary. So my first broadcast was why did I just stare off into space for 2023, July 3rd. So I will be celebrating that, especially on July 2nd. I would like to get some extra streams in if I can for the stream anniversary. We'll see what I can fit, but we will be doing some sort of celebration there. I haven't figured out exactly what, but I do have a few other little stream improvement type stuff that I want to roll out at that time. So, and one of them is actually live right now. Somebody triggered it a couple weeks ago. I'm curious to see if anybody will stumble upon it again. But it's there. We're halfway living in the future. One pinky toe dipped in. So stay tuned for announcements on that. Hopefully I will have a little bit, well, not just hopefully, I should have a more clear plan next week in terms of what I'm going to do. It does depend a little bit on some nebulous travel possibilities that we're trying to figure out. Especially as July 4th is, the day after, and this is kind of a big one coming up. So all that said, let's go ahead and get ready to jump into our warm-up here. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hop over in just a second to my handy dandy Clip Studio Paint. I was prepping tonight's pieces to work on. Okay. There's that. Let me get a blank canvas up. It's the most obnoxious sound, I'm sorry. I was just remembering why my canvas size was set that way. And now I remember, and that will be part of the long explanation that I have for you later. Oh guys, Oh, guys, it's been a journey. Yes. Yes, indeed it has. Okay. Now I am ready. So, beep. I'm gonna do it every time. Every time that I haven't done it every time, but I almost always do that. The sound effect is, you know, key. All right, so for my warm up, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. All right, very good. Yeah, for warm up, I draw Pokemon, and actually, thanks to my moderator Frank, which, by the way, if you didn't notice, I've got a little Frank homage right here. We've got a goose right behind me on stream. Frank has been working overnights lately and unable to make it, but he is never out of our thoughts, or never far from our thoughts, and now he is never far from hitting me in the back of my head, as I'm sure he would prefer to be. So Frank suggested that we do Pokemon fusions, and it's been a lot of and I've been going on this for a while now, and it's been a lot of fun, a really good way to warm up. So we're going to keep on going with that. And I use the random Pokemon generator website, which is just randompokemon.com. It's been pretty robust in terms of generating 2 Pokemon that I then have to combine together. If you want to draw along, if you'd like to post it anywhere, you can tag us on Instagram at WagWorksGA. Otherwise, that's probably the best way to actually share it with us if you'd like. But otherwise, I just encourage you to draw along and have fun, because drawing is fun. Even if you don't think you're great at it, I encourage you to try and just have fun with it. Don't judge yourself. Just try. All right, that being said, here we go. Let's go ahead and pick our Pokemon that we're going to mash up tonight. This is literally all of them. Legendaries, all regions, all forms, Megas, Dynamax, everything. So, you know what's funny is, like, with all that, like, ramp up and, like, think about all these, like, giant, epic Gigantamax, Dynamax Pokemon. I just got, like, the babies, Wurmple and Elekid, which honestly I'm already seeing these are gonna work pretty well together. Okay, so it's Wurmple and Elekid. That's who we've got tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. I'm gonna pull reference over, and then we are gonna get started. So if you want to draw along, use this time to boot up Microsoft Paint if that's what you want to do, or grab a piece of paper and some pencils and just prepare to draw along. Now, you don't have to draw the Pokemon mashup. You can draw whatever you want, honestly. Really, the point is just to have fun and to loosen up your arm and your brain a little bit, especially if you, like me, are going to be moving on to other stuff tonight. So here we have our boy Wurmple. All right. There we go. I like to label. It used to be that Ashley was doing my YouTube uploads for me, and so as she did not dedicate the amount of brain space that I did to Pokemon names, which is probably a really wise choice on her part, I was putting the names in to help her, identify them quickly for that purpose. But I've been doing that for the last bit here, which, by the way, yeah, if you looked on Wednesday at noon and the VOD from last week was not there, apologies, first off. Second, it's there now. I uploaded, but I did not have time to get all the details together straight away in time for the usual Wednesday slot, but they are up at the usual time. All right. All that being said, all that preamble, let's go ahead and get started. It's going to be 5 minutes. This is a warm-up sketch, so it's not going to be final inks. It's not going to be color, none of that. This is really just about warming up, combining shapes, thinking in kind of a 3D space, and really getting ready to do some more art. So I'm going to go ahead and get the timer ready to go. If you're drawing along, timer starts now. I do love it when it works out so nicely, how the Pokemon fit together. All right, there we go. these ones are at least thematically fairly close to each other, share a lot of like, because they're both, and one is like the baby evolution, you know, of another Pokemon, and the other is just the basic form. They share a lot of very simple, non-threatening type stuff, round shapes. They're meant to make you feel maybe not underwhelmed, but not particularly threatened. Okay, let's go back on there now. We're gonna go with the round head shape. Kind of this, I don't want to call it a butt mouth, but that's kind of what it's giving right now. So we're gonna circle back to a name for this particular feature. Now the only thing where they do drastically differ here is that one is literally just an egg and the other is a caterpillar. So I'm gonna kind of compromise on that and make it kind of a tailed little guy. So, and look at the tail, the two prongs that we see on Wurmple's tail. We're gonna make this guy a little spiky. Maybe go ahead and have the electric bolt in there. And now really the biggest question is, how are we going to do the head? I do like the plug-like things on Elekid's head, so we'll keep those, but then maybe add the horn as well. Actually, we can elongate this a little bit. I do actually like that better somehow. Keep these like pointy little feet. Now, do we give it the claw-like fingers? I think we do. All right. Okay, this is coming together okay. Are there any other features that I think are really important that I haven't included in here so far? Okay, this is pretty. One of the things that I do enjoy about getting the baby Pokemon is that the shapes are nice and basic. It's really not so complicated. Actually, I'll keep this zoomed out so everyone can see the reference. So I'm just gonna go through here and kind of make, this would be like a pencil type layer. So it's really just a little bit more confident version of the sketch at this point, where I'm starting to hone in on what I really want to do with it. And solidifying the choices I made in a sketch that I really liked. And maybe adding a little bit of detail in here. Make the horn pointing back a little bit more here. Avoid the tangent where you can. Okay, that is time. That is confusing right there, so I'll add it right here instead. All right. All right. So, I like to go back and review a little bit after I'm done. Sometimes I like to cheat and darken some lines in and finish some choices. Honestly, this came out pretty good. Actually, I should just do both of them. Make them a little bigger, use more of my canvas since it's available. Yeah, honestly, this one still managed, in my opinion, to come out still kind of cute. And it doesn't read super clear, either of them, too much, but I think it's easy enough to see the elements that I think it works. I'm pretty happy with this one, y'all. I know, especially at the beginning, there were some a little bit terrifying ones that came out. Oh, what was the one? I was just looking at it with my kids today. Oh, it was oh yeah. It wasn't actually that long ago. It was like Gigantamax Kingler and Pidgeotto. It is. I will bring it up, but just know, dear viewers, it's not my proudest work. But it was, yeah. Where are you? Okay, hold up. Okay, so it's like 2 months-ish ago, or a month and a half ago, right? I'm thinking now, if I was gonna redo this one, I would get rid of 2 legs. I would keep the back legs. And I would keep the pinchers, but then I would adjust and I'd have to rebalance it so it actually stands. But I think the 4 legs plus the pinchers plus the wings are too much. This is a little bit of nightmare fuel. But this one isn't. This one's kind of cute. Oh, we have one last thing to do. As always, we have to give it a name. Feel free to type any suggestions in the chat if you want to. I'm open to them. Although usually I just, doing some kind of combination of their names. And I'm a little bit torn, honestly, right now, because part of me wants to just call it Wurmkid. But I don't know if it actually gives me Wurmkid vibes. I feel like Elekid might make more sense, at least in terms of fitting this Pokemon. The name itself makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. Elekid, which is kind of fun to say, honestly. Elekid. You ever have one of those words where you start to say it and you can say it really well at first, and then the more you say it, the worse you get at saying it? Because that's what this is, which honestly is kind of one of my favorite kinds of words. So I'm just gonna use it. So then, therefore, dear Pokemon. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Dear Pokemon, I hereby dub thee Wurmple. Excellent. I don't know how the stream gets any better from here. I think this just tops it. This is peak TV right here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and save this now, and we'll get started on my long explanation. Not really a long explanation. I'm gonna show you guys where things are at on the Games Done Quick piece, and explain why I haven't submitted it yet. Okay, cool. Wurmple. Honestly, this could be the rest of the stream is me trying to say that name and cracking myself up. But we're gonna move on. I'm gonna use self-control. Okay. If you've been watching this stream, you are familiar with this piece, with this illustration. This illustration that I started almost as a Summer Games Done Quick 2024 donation, but I ended up choosing instead the Sonic and Knuckles illustration, which I was very happy with. So I think that was a good call. But I still liked it so much that I kept working on it for a bit even after Summer Games Done Quick 24. And then I shelved it, I think with CoreToons stuff and a bunch of other things. And so if you've been watching, you've seen me come back to this and now finish it. This is exactly where we left off last week on this piece. It's done. I have nothing more to do to this. I am very happy with it. So now begins the story. So the original plan was to get this printed on like a tote bag. And Ashley suggested that, and I thought it was like the coolest idea. And I guess I had a picture of a canvas bag in my mind, and I kind of knew what I wanted. And then I thought, oh, you know what would be cool is to do a few extra like little charms, like acrylic charms, things like the popsicle stick, and maybe a Keyblade, and maybe like the Paopu fruit, right? And just have these like little keychain charms that dangle off the handle, and it'd be so like cute and like this nice little collected reference to the games. And then a couple of things happened as Ashley and I went to work mocking it up to get it printed. One, we were having a heck of a time finding a canvas bag that we liked the way that it featured the designs. A bunch of them were too tiny, or some of them cut off parts of the image. And as we were trying to figure it out, some of the websites this was like a 35 meg file. I did cut it down to half resolution for some of this because I realized I didn't need to make it so big at 600 DPI. So we did cut back down the size, but some of the sites decided they were going to stop functioning when we were trying to do things. And then we went on to the charms just to look at that and realized, like, well, we're not tabling at any events anytime soon. We don't really send a lot of traffic to our web store. So, by the way, these were... where are you? These were the charms that I started working on. So I was showing these to my kids, and they wanted to draw. So that's where the smiley face came. I forgot that was on there. Oh, good times. All right, so those were the charms that I was considering. And then we realized, like, for something where I'm going to take one of each one of them and put them on, you can only order most charms in bulk. So if we don't have plans to really do much with them in the store or table, it doesn't make sense. So like, okay, well, let's do a charm that we can then all, we can just do one and let's get the most mileage we can out of it. So it's like, oh, okay, let's do a double-sided charm. I found a place where we can print a photo charm keychain. It's square, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be die cut. Just, do double-sided and do something with some symbology, get a couple images, like some parallels between both sides. I'm like, okay, perfect. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do the popsicles, right? Because the sea salt ice cream, that's a major running thing in Kingdom Hearts. And on the other side, I'm going to parallel kind of Roxas's whole journey in the game. And we're going to have the Oathkeeper and Oblivion Keyblades. And that is going to be so cool. So you'll flip it, like, oh, look, and they won't be able, it kind of, you can see the parallels. Because since he, dual wields them during that scene, like, at the end of kind of the intro of the game. So perfect, great. But then the whole thing with the bag happened, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? Because if we're not gonna do the bag, it doesn't make sense to do just the charm. So we're like, okay, well, Sonic blanket was pretty amazing. It was like a Sherpa blanket. It was super soft, super cuddly. We're like, all right, well, let's do a blanket. I'm like, well, I still kind of want to do something more than just a blanket. And I did this Keyblade art, so what can we do with it? And Ashley had the really cool idea of doing two-sided like throw pillows. So you get basically a blanket and one or two pillows that you can like flip, and it can do. So we went to that idea. The popsicles, honestly, are a little bit rough to blow them up and have them be like that size on a canvas, on a pillow. So I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do one Keyblade on each side. So then we got to there. And, you know, like, okay, I did them on separate layers, so I can just, you know, do this. That's fine. But the problem is I was thinking charm when I designed this. And I don't know if you can see in my clip studio here, but I designed them as like a 2" by 2" square, essentially. And when I went to blow them up to, like, we got a print warning, first of all, when we uploaded the art, like, okay, this is way too low quality, even at 300 DPI. So I was like, okay, these are too small. I need to at least make them bigger and clean them up. And so we did. But obviously when you upscale something, even using the vector lines, the fills and the shading did not come out great. So actually, hold on. So I'm gonna turn this back up to full opacity. And they look kind of like this. But like, this is a 16" pillow, right? So it just looks really messy. Like, you can see the pixelation on the shading and the colors, and all of these vector line points are just kind of a mess. It works great on a 2x2 keychain, but I was really unhappy with this for something so large. So hear me out. I'm like, I'll just clean it up a little bit. And then of course cleaning up turned into, I'm just gonna completely redraw this with fresh vector lines. The good news is this is Oblivion, the Oblivion Keyblade. This is the second one. I finished Oathkeeper. That is done. And it looks like this. And I'm very happy with this one. So, that one's done. And what I'm working on tonight now is finishing out on Oblivion. The inks are almost entirely done. I want to add a keychain on there, as well as clean up a little bit about what's happening, you know, kind of in here. But we're almost done there, and we'll color and highlight. But it's very nearly done. The other thing that I did do, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to use it or not, was I thought this might look a little bit empty, so I thought it would be cool to do a background, do something with like one of those stained glass themes that you see in Kingdom Hearts. So I did this one from scratch. I incorporated some motifs, so you've got like this, the cross type thing is something you actually get in Sora's master form, drive form in Kingdom Hearts 2. This keyhole motif obviously fits very much with Kingdom Hearts. We've got the Paopu fruit in the middle. So I'm not actually any longer sure I'm going to use it. It might be a bit too busy. Oh, actually, I want to turn this back on. There we go. When I add the border effect, I think it helps it pop a little bit more. But I did do the background, and if I do it for Oblivion, for the Keyblade, I was going to probably flip the color scheme and change the centerpiece design in the middle. But I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet. But I am really happy with just how Oathkeeper came out and how Oblivion is coming out so far. So that is my long story. That is why we have not submitted the piece yet. But that is what I will be working on finishing up tonight to make sure we can get it submitted. The deadline now is June 21st. So we're still ahead of deadline, especially if I finish tonight or tomorrow. We're in pretty good shape. But yeah, and thus ends story time with Jeff. There we go. But now that I've kind of given the background, let's go ahead and jump on in. Most of the vector work is done here. I am very, very happy with how a lot of these lines have come out. They're pretty clean, and I really can't complain. Like this. Okay, and let's check out our reference just to make sure we're being relatively true to it. Okay, This is an interesting chain. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. Okay, well, I'm not gonna really fret over it. I do see some difference in the shape of this, how the eyelets are both a little bit further on the side, and you've got almost this nice star shape in here, which I missed before, but I'm gonna leave this as it is. I think at this point, I'm pleased with where it's at. So now we just need to, you know, add, there's this clasp that's gonna come through. Let's do. I'm gonna turn the grid back on, which is immensely helpful for this kind of thing. I am eyeballing this a little bit, so these may not be exact angles, but I feel pretty good about where they're at. What's that, 10? Something like that. Okay. And I am just, if you're curious, I am using Clip Studio Paint. I do very much appreciate and enjoy its vector features for this type of thing. Pretty good. All right. Let's go ahead and boop, 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 boop. Actually, this appears to be a solid piece. So let's do this. What I'm gonna do real quick. That's actually a little bit big, isn't it? No, I think that could be spot on. All right, so this is just my guideline for how I want the chain to go. It probably doesn't need to be that long. So we'll go to like there. That should be good. And then we'll have the keychain, you know, here. Just gonna rough it out here to get an estimate for the shape and size. And then I'll more carefully get it in there once I, you know, get the chain drawn out to this point. Something like that. That's not perfectly symmetric, but it will stand for now. Okay. This is just to help me keep track of where I am in this part of the drawing. It is sometimes very easy to get so lost in the act of doing a detailed part that you kind of lose sight of the overall goal and either make it way too long or don't fit the shape or something like that, and have to either delete a bunch of stuff that you worked really hard on or drastically change it. And given where we are in relation to the deadline, I would rather not do any of that right now. So, not quite. Okay, that'll work there. Now, if I want to be smart about this, I can probably do... Actually, what, does anything else show the actual keychain? No, not really. Okay, this is what I've got to go on. This is what I will work with. If you notice me like reaching and suddenly like, by the way, it's because I've been having some shoulder issues lately, and I think it's been my work desk has been at an odd angle. So I removed the arms from this chair for my work desk so it would be at a better height. And so far it's been really quite helpful, but this is my first stream since doing that. So I'm a little bit used to things working differently at this desk than they are right now. So, you know, if I fall out of my chair, I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's great. Okay, I don't think I need to do this. Maybe I'll do it on separate layers just in case. Actually, if I'm going to do that, I can do it on the grid like this and make my life significantly easier. Actually, let's go ahead and drop down that line width just a touch. By the way, this is a PSA for anyone who didn't know this, or maybe I was just like really late to the party. In most programs where you can draw things like lines and circles, if you hold down the shift key on your keyboard while you're drawing them, it will lock it into either a horizontal line, a vertical line, or in this case, a 45-degree angle line that I just did. And it will make, if you need to draw any of those particular angles of line, it will make your life a lot easier, and you might even be happy for that. I don't really know where I was going with that last part. Started out strong, faltered at the end. You know how it goes. No, I don't want sticky keys. Thank you for asking. All right, I think that's gonna work pretty well for our chain link. Yeah. Since this is a series of nearly identical chains, I feel pretty good about using these as the basis and copying the other. Also, this is a relatively small part of the piece. I may be trying to convince myself a little bit because honestly, sometimes it feels like cheating. But I guess as I'm getting more into the world of comics, I'm realizing, you know, when you have to draw something like 1,000 times, excuse me, as you do if you're doing like a graphic novel or something like that, it is okay to not make your life miserable. Especially when, I don't even know if anyone's done a study on it, but like a lot of comic panels, eyes are glossing over in just a matter of seconds. And it's like, if it took you all day to draw that, like, and people are just glossing over, maybe it's not so bad if you took one shortcut. I guess it's a hard balance sometimes, determining where you need to do things the hard way to grow as an artist, and where you are actually just actively fighting against yourself. Wow, you're making this keychain long. Maybe it's gonna be short, because what is this, like 1, 2, 3, like in terms of the big links, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, which I've already done 5. Oh my gosh. Oh, but they are a little bit bigger here. Okay. Okay, I see that. Alright, maybe... I know that seems counterproductive, but there's a reason for it. Okay, this to me is making more sense. This works. This I am pleased with. Okay. So what is it, 4? Maybe I'll do 5 instead. I'm not interested necessarily in being 100% accurate, because also I'm noticing that in my reference search that there's definitely variations on the look of this Keyblade in the different games. Like for here, for example, you see the all black. It's got yeah, it's a very much an all black motif, but then like in alternate ones, it's like, oh, there's white on it and there's silver in places. Okay. And this like head part of the key is actually quite simplified. It's like, oh, okay then. But then I already drew Oathkeeper consistently with a different style, so I was like, oh, it feels weird jumping in the middle. I don't know. At any rate, this is what I'm going with. One more, yeah. Let's do one more. And then what I'll do here on my reference, I'll just move this guy. Like so. Merge these guys down. You can't see it, but I'm merging right now. Do my usual, possibly cowardly safety copy, but also trying to save myself a little pain in the future. Let's do that. Dadix, hey, how's it going? Welcome on in. Hello, Raiders. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're all having a good night so far. Sorry if I like screamed into the microphone. Go ahead and give you that shout out there. Happy to see you. Hope it's been a good night so far. It's going okay. Yeah. Maybe driving myself a little bit crazy trying to do a super technical Keyblade thing. It's all good. It's all good. How was stream? I'll do a fresh one over here. Played Haste for a bit. Actually, I don't know Haste. What kind of game is that? Actually, it might look better if I do it like this. Yeah, I think that is probably a little bit better, and then I'll do this and like that maybe? So what I can do actually is just copy this one. There's a lot of lines that I'll have to, you know what, I'm just gonna draw these. I am just gonna draw these. That is very long, those are far apart. I think it'll be fun. Roguelike Sonic speed level? Well, now you've got me fascinated. Hold on a second. High-speed third-person running game set in a collapsing universe? Hello? Whoa. This is super cool. Just a moment. It wouldn't be a stream without without a bot trying to sell me more bots. Good times, good times. But this game, holy moly, this looks beautiful. I'm looking at it now, and I love the art for the conversation scenes. Dude. Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. How did you like it? Oh wait, it has multiplayer? I'm just seeing the trailer here. Once you lock in, it's addicting? I bet. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to add this to my Steam wish list. This looks so good. Oh man. Okay. 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 Bringing it in. But that looks amazing. That sounds fun. I'm glad you had a chill stream. I haven't tried the multiplayer yet. I feel like this may be aging myself a bit, but I haven't played a lot of 3D Sonic. Like almost all my Sonic experience is the old school 2D games. But yeah, it looks super cool. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and merge these two. I'm pretty okay with these cross chains. I think this is fine. I do have a safety layer. I'll do another safety copy here. Then I can merge these down and do a little cleanup. Just to make sure these kind of make sense in a 3D space. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of cleanup left on these, but not too bad. You were in Japan? That sounds incredible. What? Yeah, tell me about the trip. It's been on my list to go to there forever, and I have not. Why do I know this song? Serenade to a Great Fair. I don't know what Zelda game this is from, but it's definitely familiar. So much cleanup to do. That is okay. I will live with it. I will survive this cleanup. this one up to listen to again later. Coffee date. Two weeks of going all over the country? Oh man, and your first trip. How was that experience, like being a first time international travel, and being somewhere where like the language, the writing system are so different? Hold on a second, you froze. Sorry, child monitor. Just keeping an eye on the kiddo. But hard to do when the monitor freezes. And for me, like my first international trip, which is now quite a long time ago, was going to Germany, and I had the luxury of having spent 4 years studying German, which helped, but also almost every German person I spoke to like immediately switched to English, so they knew. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. What do you use to study, by the way? I've been very slowly working through Duolingo's Japanese course. Actually, I've been considering streaming Duolingo. Some people do it. If you look it up, there actually are Duolingo streams. Of course, then again, you run the risk of someone who actually speaks that language seeing you like utterly massacring their language. But maybe that's a good learning experience. I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, gonna lock in a little bit. All right. We're just finishing this chain, and then we can actually put some color on this guy. We're almost there. Almost there. But I do want to keep hearing about your trip. All right, let's try to be fairly symmetric here. Now I am aware that there is a mirror ruler in Clip Studio Paint that I could and probably should be using here, but apparently I've opted here to just do things the hard way and make my life difficult. So Dadix, if there's like one thing for sure that you would recommend somebody go see in Japan based on your trip, like what would you most recommend? Oh, when you tried speaking, your brain would panic and default to English. Yeah, it's hard to not get into like translation mode or just lock in. The gesturing to things helped a lot. Okay, that is good. Oh, you know what? This isn't right. This is incorrect. Let me fix that. There we are. Fix that angle a little bit. Should be more out. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. That's all right. Okay. Clean these guys up a little bit. I just have some of these vector points that I want to just touch up. I think we're just about ready to color, y'all. Come on. Clip Studio, why are you doing this to me? You're so good. You're so helpful. Why would you not be? Come on, I just, you guys. Oh my God. I'm trying to grab this one point, and Clip Studio is just like, no, you can't. Oh, the Hiroshima Peace Park. Seeing the from the atomic bomb. That's crazy. I cannot even imagine all the feelings that would come up from seeing that. Let's see. I'm sure it's incredible. Now, I'm sure most of these details are so small that they're not really going to be noticeable. I mean, it is going to be on like a 16-inch pillow, so I guess, you know, it could be a little bit if I'm not careful. This is what I wanted to clean up. This is, yeah. Come on. Come on. There we go. There is this. Okay, we're very nearly there. Oh, that's true. Google Translate. That is really helpful, for sure. Yeah, we tried, I think I've mentioned this before on stream, but one of our kiddos we adopted from China, so we went there to bring them home, and there were, you know, I definitely did not have time to take a crash course in Mandarin Chinese before going to, you know, Shanghai and Guangzhou and all that. And by then, at least, Google Translate was enough of a thing that it was useful. Oh, that would be super cool. Just getting a tutor. It's funny. I've seen all the ads and stuff, and I know we're in this age where we've got all these tools that can translate almost instantly. Even I've seen the ads for like the earpiece things that can like supposedly, you know, instantly translate most conversations. And like, on one hand, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. We're like living in the future. But then I'm like, I still feel like there's so much value in learning an actual language. Not just the, you know, more obvious, like, well, what if you don't have access to the technology and you need to translate something, but also just like, I've studied a few languages now. Like I've studied German and Spanish, Japanese, some Mandarin, and every time I've studied a language, like there's always something interesting about the way they construct, the way the language, excuse me, constructs itself, the way that you arrange your thoughts, the way that you describe things, I feel like is so interesting and telling of like an overall thought process. Yeah, it's so interesting. I think it's so cool when you start to learn that with another language and you start to kind of get this glimpse into like not just new ways to say stuff to people, but like actually like a new way that you kind of think, or a new way of kind of viewing the world. I'm a huge language nerd. I would spend all day learning languages if I could, so I will not go on my super long version of this conversation, but needless to say, that sounds awesome, and seems like it'd be super cool. Yes. Although I do really like how clean the Japanese sentence structure is. At least I'm not like super advanced, I'm like beginner level, right? But I like it's so clean, and there's all the particles that identify like this is this part of the sentence and this is that part of the sentence. So there's not really as much room for like confusion as there are in a lot of English phrases. At least, like I said, at least that's where at the level that I'm at now. But like also, I recognize that I have so very much to learn. All right, let's get this last little bit of design in here. Cuts in front of these guys, so these crossbars will not be present, nor will they be present here. Maybe. Yeah, nothing. I'm gonna do this, but as a thinner line. Yeah, I like that. And I think a lot of the rest of what I want I can actually do with shading here. These got a little wonky. But I think I'm okay with that. It's because of how technical these are, it's been very challenging to find where to draw the line. I mean, yes, the literal lines, but also the figurative lines. In terms of like, okay, what is actually necessary here versus what is just straight up perfectionism? Where am I just making my own life more difficult for no really good reason because I think it has to be blah 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 blah, you know? And where am I like, where do I really need to put in the effort and time to make sure that I get this right? Where's that payoff gonna land? Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. One of the things that I thought has been really cool about learning some Japanese, at least, is because of the fact that kanji, is a derivative of, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for. I don't want to offend anybody based on their languages, but because there's a tight relationship, we'll say, between kanji and the Mandarin characters, the Hanzi. I've got a kiddo who's studying Mandarin, so I can sometimes see their stuff and actually read, or at least know, like, okay, this sentence is about this, like, this is water, cool, and sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not really helpful at all, but it's neat to feel like I'm kind of getting double duty out of out of a language that I'm learning. I like that. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. What are you doing? What is this little dot? It's kind of funny. I have a friend that I work with who had expressed that he was interested in learning Japanese, and like at that point in time, I'd been doing it for a little while, and like so we talked about it, and like shared the enthusiasm, and he took the jump and started, and he is like so far surpassed me at this point. It's very impressive. Okay, maybe I will do just a little, yeah, because this has a really clearly defined center point. So I'll do a little line width and just do this guy right there. Okay, okay, okay. That was a lot. That was a lot, but we're there. Like two different kanji, so within the Japanese language itself. That makes sense. Yeah, what are they, like the radicals, the individual strokes or sub characters in there. There's, yeah. I wish I could take like just whole classes on this because it's so interesting. And there's also like, aren't there a lot of homonyms as well? Words that sound the same, but they have completely different kanji and thus different meaning entirely. So I'm going to scoot you over and perhaps size you down. Okay. Yeah, the thing that did kind of blow my mind a little bit starting to learn Japanese was when I realized that because of the fact that they have not just the kanji, but also hiragana and katakana, and also there's a few words, at least according to Duolingo, there's a few words that just straight up borrow like English letters, like in t-shirt. The T. So like you could have a sentence in Japanese that actually is built on 4 different writing systems. It's like, what are you doing? But it's cool. Like it incorporates so much. And it's like on one hand it feels like a lot, but on the other hand it feels kind of cool when you actually can kind of read it. Oh yeah, so ie and ie. That's right, yeah. Home and no. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on a second. Okay. You guys, we may not get to the D&D piece tonight. I was really hoping we were going to do it, but this is very detailed and this is a higher priority to get out on time. We may, now no guarantees, we may still have time to get this printed and shipped here. I would love to be able to show it to you guys before we mail it off. I'm pretty sure I'm sent home to a cashier by accident. On the bright side, they probably are used to it from foreigners, but that's funny. Do you want a bag? Home. Makes sense. I'm sure they got it. Yeah, we're lucky enough to have Epcot right here, right? So it's Disney's experimental planned community of tomorrow. That's what they call it. But one of my favorite part of Epcot is the fact that you've got the World Showcase and all these pavilions that are from different countries around the world. And it's probably no surprise then that we spend quite a bit of time in the Japan pavilion. So whenever we do order food at like their kiosk and stuff, I try to make it a point to at least like be brave enough to be like arigatou gozaimasu. Just get something out there so they're like, I'm trying. I am trying. I respect your language and I'm trying. I guess the point that I should note is that most of the pavilions are staffed by people from that actual part of the world, which is real nice. That didn't sound as that didn't give as much respect for it as I actually have. It sounds real nice. It's real nice. No, but I love that about it. Back before we lived here, sometimes when we would come to Disney and visit, Ashley would, especially in Germany, she would like, she wanted to encourage me to use my German. So she'd go to them and be like, he speaks German. But then I have no idea what to say. And then trying to figure out what small talk to make on top of like trying to translate it when you have a very limited vocabulary is just, it's a little challenging, to say the least. Holy moly, y'all. We are getting very, very close. And I am so excited about that. Nope, that is not a spot to color. This is the spot to color. Okay. I think I can actually turn off my old reference. What are you doing? Oh, okay. This is the part of the drawing process that every artist knows, called, oh crud, what layer was that on? The flats layer. Interesting. How did they get there? Alright, so if you've watched stream before, usually you'll note that I usually take a break around 11 o'clock. We're gonna be skipping that tonight, obviously. We're just gonna keep trucking through. Highlights layer here. We're going to do a soft light. I almost never use a pure white highlight light, but I am using it on these. Okay. I do think I need to come in here and do a little bit with these crossbars. So I see there's a little more going on here that I haven't quite captured. Here. Here. Okay. Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming by, Daddix. It's been good chatting with you. And good luck. I hope you recover from the jet lag soon. And yeah, have a great night. That's pretty good. All right. I'm still doing a little bit more here on inks. Just gonna. Okay, I think that captures it a little bit better. It didn't have to be perfect, just trying to get a little more on there. Okay. On to the highlighting. Actually, hold up. I should probably look at the other one. Okay, we did like a lower left side light a little bit. Okay. Scrap that. We're gonna start down here then. Come on, man. So an interesting thing is to me at least, is that I haven't been doing, at least I didn't on the other Keyblade, I didn't do a shadows layer. Usually that's the first thing I do after I finish flat colors. But I've been doing highlights instead, and I think it's been pretty effective. I mean, the main thing is, right, you're trying to add depth. Oh my gosh, Jeff, really? You're trying to add depth to everything by increasing the contrast and creating, you know, the visual appearance of those areas that need to pop out in relation to each other, and you achieve that a lot through contrast. So that in that way, highlighting should work just as well as anything else. But it's been interesting approaching it a different way slightly, at least. I guess that's all I was really saying. Excuse me, my goodness. My goodness. What are we at? 11:35. Okay, we're doing honestly pretty good on time. I didn't mentally allot that much time to do the keychain part. What? Me not allowing enough time for an intensely complicated piece of something? Crazy. I know. It never happens. And we should all be very surprised. You know what's interesting to me is that you can see it where these two touch, but these two like highlighted areas touch. But the highlighted area here near the center of the sword, because it's so surrounded by light, it really looks like it's a brighter highlight shade. But then you bring it over to the other side and no, they're the same. They're the same, man. Blows your mind. I really don't know what I'm doing at this point. Verbally. Actually, what am I doing? What am I doing? When I could just be doing this. Look at me working smarter, not harder. Allegedly. Okay. And these remixes of old like Sega Genesis Sonic music are making my my heart very happy. I know we're a lot quieter here on stream right now. And that's okay. Sometimes sometimes we need our chill focus time too. And I know I've said it before. I would probably be doing this even if nobody was watching. I spent so long making my art just for myself, you know. And granted, I still do some of the stuff, you know, like little doodles and sketches, over, you know, during the middle of like the day. They aren't a major time investment. They're not like going anywhere, but they're just to have fun or to practice or to occupy a part of my brain so that the rest of my brain can focus on something. ADHD, if you know, you know. But I think once I started actually putting my work out into the world, something kind of clicked for me. And unless you are watching this VOD like in the future and I'm like sitting here at like 500,000 followers, which, let's be fair, pretty unlikely, and also not necessarily my goal. You know, it's not a huge audience out there. Well, that's okay. I'm happy to share with who I can share with and make a difference in people's days by having a nice chat with them when they come in. We've been watching, Ashley and I have been watching the live action Netflix One Piece lately. And I mean, I loved what I read of the manga. I read 5 volumes and I kind of fell out of manga for a while and I never caught back up because it's one of those things that by the time that I came back to it in any way, it was like, oh, there's 5 or there's 100 volumes out there. But one of the things that I always loved about it, I very much emphasize that. I very much emphasized that more than I meant to. But one of the things that I loved about it was how aspirational it was, like how, and inspirational. You know, Luffy is this character, and there's a lot of theming on what is your dream, you know, not giving up on your dream, chasing your dream, all that kind of stuff. And I love that. And if I'm being honest, I don't know entirely what my dream is in terms of art stuff, especially. I know that the creative stuff fills my tank in a way that my scientific work doesn't usually do. And there was a long time where I thought, Ashley and I both thought, the dream was like, if we could just get a book traditionally published, you know, that's how you've made it, and then keep going, you know. And one, that route seems kind of very fraught right now. Not that it's impossible, and if you know, we know several people who are going that way, and if you can get in that door, I still think it's incredible, and you know, you should go for it. But I also think that from everything I've heard, the traditional publishing industry is a very challenging place to be living right now. And kudos and sympathies for those who are having to survive through it right now, as it kind of does this interesting adjustment thing. But also, like, part of it was just doing this Twitch stream and then doing donation art for causes that I care about, and just being able to do something and put it out there and realize, like, oh, people care about this, right? Like, people, it doesn't have to be a whole bunch of people, but somebody out there, this makes a difference to them. And like, that is such a cool, freeing revelation, truly. So I don't know that my dream any longer revolves around like a certain gatekeeper for a certain format. I know I love all of the creative stuff. I love making the art. I love being here on Twitch and chatting with y'all. I love being able to do art for causes that I care about very much, you know. But it's hard to nail down one specific dream on it all. And I don't think that you have to. But it's one of those things that watching the show really got me thinking about it. And I don't know yet what my answer is. But I guess maybe part of it is just as simple as I just want to keep sharing things and connecting with people the best way I can, you know, like, or the best that I can. And maybe it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Dude, this intro for Ocarina of Time is so good. I'm curious what kind of treatment Nintendo is going to give it for the remake that they just announced. I remember when my college roommate brought his N64 for our like second semester of my freshman year. At this point, you know, GameCube was out, and it was definitely, you know, there were, you know, N64 was not brand new, but it was new enough, and I was able to get, like, I started playing through Mario 64, which I played a little bit of, but since I never owned an N64, I had never, like, really gotten far in it, and, like, I had, actually, I think it was, the end of the fall semester, like, they brought it back from being home for Thanksgiving. And I think I played through like all of Mario 64 on that thing. And then I found on eBay Ocarina of Time and started playing through. I never finished it though, which is a little bit of a regret, but yeah, it just like the first time you boot it and you hear that music is so like moving. All right, we're getting there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. No D&D piece is happening tonight, which I think is okay. I think we'll probably be seeing the new the revival of our campaign soon. I'm hopeful for it, but also I do think I'll be able to finish it in time, and obviously this GDQ piece kind of took the priority tonight, being that I want to get it submitted, and hopefully I think the place that we were looking at, which honestly was Walmart, which did a very good job with the prints that we've actually trusted them with so far, for like the blankets and stuff, that kind of product. I think they're fast enough that I'll be able to get this shipped here and still ship it off to GDQ, which part of me is like, okay, that's a lot of shipping, but as an artist, the chance to actually see the product and put my hands on it and like be like, oh my gosh, I made this art, Like, and here it is in real life. It's amazing. Like, Ashley got me, was it for my birthday last year, I think? A copy of the beach towel that we did for last year's Summer Games Done Quick. Or, yeah. And, oh my gosh, like, getting to actually, like, hold it, and then, like, we did take it out to the beach, and it was just, like, I don't know, it was a very cool thing. Very satisfying as a artist to be able to kind of see your art in that way. I am really glad that Ashley started having, like, had the idea to start doing the get it printed on something useful stuff, because, like, I in all honesty, for some reason it had never occurred to me. And I was going down this road of, like, just submitting these giant canvas prints. I'm like, well, certainly, like, you know, if you have a gaming room in your house, then sure, they'll absolutely be great. But, like, also I did, like, a 16 by 16 Kirby, and, like, that was huge. Like, that was huge. And a 16 by 20 Pokemon picnic piece, and, like, that's a chunk of wall space. You have to really be committed to a piece to put it up for that. So if you happen to be the person who won that and have it up in your house, thank you, because I realize I do not take lightly the commitment that you made to giving it wall space. But I hope it brings you as much joy to look at as it did me to make it. This is so interesting to me because I'm trying not to make this too blade-like, but because, like, it's okay, it's a Keyblade, but it's definitely not like Sora's running around slicing up enemies with it, right? So you don't want to make it too sharp and threatening, but at the same time, like, it does have, you know, it's got some bevels to it. Put it that way. That was the weirdest way I've ever phrased anything. It feels like, hi, I'm Jeff. English is my first language, despite what you may think. Okay, y'all. Have you ever gotten the thing where you look at something and you see how the shapes in it can construct a face, and then from then on you can't not see the face? Because legit, I'm getting that right now, and I'm having trouble unseeing the face of this. Okay, getting closer. All right. On the bright side, even though this Keyblade is ridiculously detailed, I am finding a lot of relief in the fact that it's still significantly less detailed than the clock tower. While I wouldn't call that a mistake to have chosen that scene, and I definitely feel like I grew a lot doing it, I recognize this piece, this illustration in general, this whole project put together probably would have gone much faster with a much less detailed thing. And I'm realizing that I probably have Tetsuya Nomura to thank for that, at least a little bit. He does love really complicated designs with zippers and pockets and belts. Although I love it. I mean, I love his design style. But I'm realizing that choosing what I chose may have been part of the reason why I took a bit longer on this illustration. Maybe just a bit. That being said, he's still great, and you know, one of my inspirations as an artist. So I can't say I regret anything. And honestly, it's been kind of a cool study. Okay, we're getting so very close, you guys. Oh gosh, we're at midnight. Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here soon. I'm going to wrap up here soon. In fact, probably realizing we got plans earlier in the morning tomorrow, I should probably wrap up right now. It's just really hard to stop when you get on a good shading roll. You know what I mean? If you've done this, maybe you might know what I'm talking about. Maybe. Okay, a little bit wavy. Okay. I'm gonna call it here on Art Time. We'll take a closer look. This might actually be done. This is dangerously close to being done, you guys. But I feel like tonight is not the exact moment where I'm gonna go through all the checks. I feel pretty good about this though. Okay. This is not a drill. We might actually be done with this. Okay. So let's do this. Hi, hello. Yeah, so it's time for final announcements. Okay, this for reals will be the last stream working on the Kingdom Hearts stuff because this needs to get submitted by Sunday. So we are officially out of time, but the good news is it's in great shape, like it's done. So that's awesome. If you have watched some or all of every stream of this project over the last 2 years, thank you. Thank you for your amazing patience. This is that payoff moment. Well, actually the payoff moment will be when I can show you the physical thing when it's done. But I'm very happy with where all this has landed. I'm quite pleased. So next week will probably be the D&D piece, unless we're doing like another CoreToons thing, or I might be working on 1 or 2 projects for the Streamiversary. Next week I will have details about what the Streamiversary will entail a little bit more and what I want to roll out at that point in time. So look forward to that then. In the meantime, yeah, this has been Wagworks GA. Once again, I'm Jeff. You can call me Wags. You can always find me here. Well, most of the time, find me here Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern time here in the States. That's the best time for me to stream right now. Always looking for those chances to do more. If I'm going to, and I am aware that I'm going to, you can find a story right here on my Twitch page. I will post that as much in advance as I can to let you know. But in the meantime, Thursdays, 10 p.m. If you want to see more of my work and Ashley's work, you can check out our socials. We're WagWorksGA right here at Twitch, also over at YouTube, and also on Instagram, although Instagram is a little bit kind of dead / coma right now. But you can find more stuff there. The best place right now, if you're looking for something that's not video, is probably our webpage, which is just www.wagworksga.com. So yeah, you can see some of the D&D stuff. You can see some of my portfolio, some of our graphic novel projects for middle grade, like stuff like my Zodiac, Lunar New Year Zodiac animals. We've got like a blog, our store, pretty cool. Yeah, you can find those there. If you want to check out CoreToons, but you missed that link, here it is again. So this is the link again for our summer issue of the CoreToons Tribune, our digital magazine for kids, grades kindergarten through 5th. This is the activities issue. So if you've got kids who are on summer break and you want just some light educational stuff for them to do, like, or just fun activities, not all of them are even necessarily have any kind of educational angle. They're just kind of fun activities. Check it out. It's free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. You just go to that link and you can download the PDF and print what you want. If you want to binge some of the comics in there that we've done for CoreToons, that's very bad. Binge some of the comics. No, if you want to check out, read, and perhaps binge through some of the comics we made, you can just go to this link where you can navigate your way on over to that. You can also, of course, see our other amazing creators' stuff there too. As always, I'm going to give a shout out to our mod Frank, who sadly has not been able to make it lately. He's been working night shifts and is greatly missed. We're gonna bring Goose down. So you should go follow Frank. Frank's awesome. He not only does he game here on Twitch, but he also does comics. His comic Loosey Goosey is also something you can check out over on Instagram. Loosey Goosey Comic. and they're fun. They're like a good Sunday funnies type feel. Frank is very smart, and I love what he does with his art, and he's also very fast. So check it out. Show Frank some love. Is that it? Is that everything? Did I cover all the stuff? Well, just again, a reminder that, yeah, 3-year streamiversary is coming up 2 weeks. So I will give you more details next week about what we'll be doing. But yeah, it's been almost 3 years with you guys. That's pretty exciting. And I would not change a thing. So I think that covers it, y'all. Thank you for being here for stream. Whether you were here chatting, whether you were lurking, whether you're watching the VOD, thanks for supporting me. Like, it means a lot. I probably couldn't not draw or create stuff even if I wanted to, but the difference between doing it for myself and sharing it with you guys is so immense, and it means the world to me. So thank you for being a part of that. I would just ask, if you want to support me even more, if you're over on YouTube, give a like or a subscribe or leave a comment. I would really appreciate it. If you're here on Twitch, go ahead and give me a follow. If you really want to, you could totally subscribe to me. It's never expected, always appreciated. But otherwise, just being here is awesome, and I really appreciate all of your support. So that does it. Until next week, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.